Hey guys, Mr. Roden here. Hope you guys are having a good day. And what we're going to do is just do some examples of one-step equations, and then you're going to need to write down the secret code. And I never write the secret code. I just tell it to you in the middle of the video somewhere. And then after that, you can go ahead and get started on Delta Math. You're going to turn this piece of paper in for 10 points, but you get a 0 unless you have the secret code on it. Okay? All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and look at some examples. All right, so example number 1. Now, you may be like, Mr. Roden, we've done a million of these. Yeah, but solving equations is very important. So we want to be very good at it when we go into high school next year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, what's the variable I want to get by itself? The variable is x. What's connected to x? Well, -7 is connected to x. And what's the opposite of subtracting 7? Well, yeah, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So when you take -7 and you add 7, you cancel. Make sure you're writing this out for your notes. Now, over here, I'm going to do a little positive negative chart, and I want you to do the chart with me. To get these credit, you have to do your positive negative charts. I want you to do this with me. So the 5 is negative and the 7 is positive. When they're on different sides, we subtract. Well, 7 minus 5 equals 2, but the negative and the positive number wins because the 7 is bigger. So in this case, our answer is positive 2. So our answer is x equals positive 2. And we're done. So I want to see all of this work right here on your paper. Okay? All right, next problem. The next problem is -5 equals u plus 3. So I'm going to put that fairness bar. So I remember to do the same thing to both sides. I'm noticing that u is the variable I want to get rid of. So how do you get rid of plus 3? I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Okay? So when you add 3 and subtract 3, those cancel out to 0. So now I'm going to go over and do my positive negative chart. So I put the negative and the positive. Well, the 5 is negative and the 3 is negative because I'm subtracting, and that's a negative. So when they're on the same side, so when they're on the same side, you add and you keep the sign on top. In this case, it's going to be negative. So this is going to be negative. 5 plus 3 is 8, so it's -8. So you get u equals -8. Okay? So remember, we need to make sure we are putting these positive, negative tables or charts. Those are very important for us because this is where you're going to make your mistakes, guys. You're not going to, I understand that you guys know how to solve equations, but really I want to make sure that you understand your negative and positive rules and when to get and how to add and negatives and positives, things like that. Okay, next example is number 3. Now this one, we're not adding, we're multiplying. So remember, there's a multiplication right here. And so in order to get rid of the multiplication by 3, we're going to divide by 3. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Okay? Now, 3 divides 3, and so I get x because 1x is just x. And so remember, 3 divided by 3 is really equal to 1, but that's a spooky one right here. And we never write the spooky one, right? We always just leave it alone. 1x is just x. Now I'm using my multiplication and division rules. A negative divided by a positive, so we have a -3, and we're dividing it by a positive. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. When signs are different, it's negative. So in this case, we get x equals -1. And we're done. Now, this is not a spooky one right here. This is not spooky. And what I mean by that is you actually have to put the 1 over on this side. This is a spooky one. This is not a spooky one. So remember that. All right, so get rid of that spooky one because it's spooky. It's a ghost, right? All right, example number 4. So if you want, what I want you to do now is pause the video and see if you can't get number 4 by yourself. All right, Hopefully you pause the video and let's see if you can get it by yourself. So now what am I going to do? I'm multiplying by a negative 11. So I'm going to divide by negative 11 both sides. Now what do I have here? I have a negative and I'm dividing by a negative. When signs are the same and we're dividing, it's a positive. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So these cancel out, and 11 goes into 44 4 times. So this is going to be A equals positive 4. And I'm done. Got to go pause the video here because I have kids coming down for lunch, and I want to pause it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back here. All right, example number 5. Now, on example number 5, we're actually dividing by 2. Remember, a fraction bar means divided by. Fraction means divided by. So how am I going to get rid of this fraction bar? I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply. So in this case, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So when I multiply and divide at the same time, those are going to cancel out. And so now I get B equals, now what do I have over here? I have a negative times a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. When signs are different, we get a negative answer. So negative 4 times positive 2 is negative 8. So our answer is B equals negative 8. Okay? So why don't you pause the video on this one and see if you can't get it all by yourself. All right, hopefully you pause it. Let's see if you got it right. So on both sides, what are we dividing by? Negative 7. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 7. I'll put it in parentheses. We're going to multiply both sides by negative 7. Okay? When you divide by negative 7 and then you also multiply by negative 7, those are going to cancel out. So we now have A equals, what do we have here? We have a negative times a positive. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7 because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So our answer is going to be A equals negative 7. All right, example number 7. Here we go. Now, this one, these are probably the most challenging of them. We have a fraction. So what we want to do is we want to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Reciprocal. And remember, what is the reciprocal? I always say refliprical. You're going to multiply by the reciprocal. What do you mean by reciprocal, Mr. Roden? Well, what we're going to do is this fraction right here, we're going to flip it. We're going to keep the sign. That negative is going to come with it. We're going to multiply by the flip of negative 6/5. 6/5. Well, what is the flip of negative 6/5? The flip of that is negative 5/6. So this is the reciprocal. And then I'm going to multiply, I'll do a fairness bar. I'm going to multiply the other side by the reciprocal also. So I'm going to put a negative 5/6 on this side. Now, when I multiply a fraction times a whole number, I'm going to make my whole number into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. Now, I'm going to multiply straight across. Negative 5 times negative 8 is positive, sorry about that. Negative 5 times negative 8 is positive 40. 6 times 6 times 1 is 6. So now I get n, and then it's negative. No, it's positive. So that, because a negative divided times a negative is a positive. So there's really a positive here, but we don't have to write it. And so we get n equals 40 over 6. Now, if you put this into Delta Math or whatever, or you're taking a quiz, you would miss it because we always reduce our fractions. We always want to make sure there's not a number that we can divide the top and the bottom by. And 40 and 6 are both even, so we can divide them by 2. So before I give my final answer, I need to divide 40 divided by 2 and 6 divided by 2. So 40 divided by 2 is 20 equals it. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And you're done. 20 over 3. Don't change that to a mixed number. Mixed numbers aren't anything special. Impropers are good. We like, what do we like? We like improper, but we like reduced. Okay, we like improper reduced fractions. All right, let's take a look at the next one. I think you're ready for a secret code now. Okay, so the secret code is this. Reciprocal is the reciprocal. Reciprocal is the reciprocal. And I want you to write that right next to your name. Wherever your name is, I want you to write reciprocal is the reciprocal. Reciprocal, just spell that the best way you can. Okay, so reciprocal equals the reciprocal. All right, okay, so next problem. Try this one on your own using the reciprocal. Now, what is the reciprocal of negative 4/3? Well, yeah, the reciprocal of negative 4/3 is negative 3/4. So if I multiply by the reciprocal, what is it? Is the reciprocal? What is how you spell? Reciprocal. That's an R. Reciprocal is reciprocal. So now we're going to multiply by the reciprocal or reciprocal over here. So now we're going to multiply a negative 3/4 on that side. Now, what happens when you multiply by the reciprocal on this 3 is going to cancel this 3. This negative is going to cancel this negative. And this 4 is going to cancel this 4. And all you're left with is a B. And then we're going to put a 1 underneath this. And we're going to multiply straight across. Negative 3 times negative 12 is positive 36. 4 times 1 is 4. Now, we always want to reduce our answer. What number goes into 4 and 36? Well, I think 4 divides both of those. We can divide them both by 4. Well, what do we get? What's 36 divided by 4? Well, yeah, 36 divided by 4 is 9. 4 divided by 4 is 1. I'll put a 1 underneath there, and so we get B equals 9 over 1, or we know when there's a 1 underneath, we can just say B equals 9. Okay, so there you go. All right, last problem here. Let's give this a try. Give it a try now. Pause the video and see if you can't get it by yourself. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is, oh, wait a minute. Did you pause the video? Okay. You sure you paused the video? Okay. All right, so the first thing you're going to do once you pause the video and did it on your own is we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So we need to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. And remember, the reciprocal is the reciprocal. Now, the reciprocal is not a word. Reciprocal is not a word. Mr. Roden made it up. Not a word. Mr. Roden made it up. So this is a made-up word. Reciprocal. Mr. Roden made that up. So we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. And what is the reciprocal of 5 over 2? Yeah, that's just 2 over 5. And we're going to multiply this side by 2 over 5. All right, 2 cancels 2, 5 cancels 5, B's all by itself. Now I'm going to put a 1 underneath the 12, and now I'm just going to multiply straight across. What's 2 times 12? 2 times 12 is 24. What's 5 times 1? 5 times 1 is 5. Can I reduce 24 over 5? No, I can't reduce 24 over 5. I am done. I'm going to put that answer into Delta Math and be done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, turn in this paper with your secret code on it, and then make sure your name's on it. You get 10 points for turning this piece of paper in, and then you're going to go ahead and do your Delta Math 1.1 assignment, and it is due next Monday. But get it done today, so you won't have homework. All right, everyone, have a good day. We'll see you later. Bye.